My friends, there is a time when the world is still, when the noise of life settles and the distractions fade into the background. Between 3 to 5 a.m., there is a sacred window, a divine opportunity. It is in these early hours that you can hear God's voice more clearly, that you can strengthen your spirit, that you can set the foundation for a victorious day. The Bible says in Mark 1:35, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. If the Son of God himself found power in the early hours, how much more should we? When the rest of the world sleeps, wake up with a purpose. Use this time to pray, to meditate, to ask God, Lord, what is your will for my life? Open your Bible, read his word, and let the truth fill your soul. Some of you have been asking God for direction, for a breakthrough, for a miracle, but you can't hear his voice over the distractions of the day. My friends, get up before the world wakes up. Go to that quiet place, kneel before him, and he will reveal what he has for you. This is not just about spirituality. It is about discipline, about training yourself to rise above laziness, above fear, above mediocrity. Great men and women throughout history, leaders, visionaries, and people of faith, understood the power of rising early. They knew that success begins before the sun rises. Let me tell you something. If you change your mornings, you will change your life. Instead of waking up rushing, anxious, and unfocused, you will wake up with clarity, with strength, with peace. You will be ahead before the world even begins. But the decision is yours. You can choose to stay asleep, or you can choose to wake up and step into your purpose. My friend, don't waste the early hours. Use them. Seek God, strengthen your mind, prepare for the battles of the day, and when you do, you will walk in faith, in purpose, in victory. May God bless you, and may you rise up to the calling he has placed on your life. Amen. There is a time when the world is quiet, when the distractions of the day have not yet begun, and when the air itself seems to carry a different kind of stillness. These early hours, between 3 to 5 a.m., hold a unique power, a power that has been recognized by the greatest minds, the strongest leaders, and the most faithful believers throughout history. In these sacred moments, the body is rested, the mind is clear, and the spirit is more receptive to wisdom, revelation, and purpose. Waking up in these early hours is not just about discipline. It is about stepping into a realm where clarity is heightened. The worries of the previous day have settled, and the noise of the world has not yet begun. It is in this stillness that great ideas are born, that prayers are most powerful, and that the human soul can connect most deeply with its Creator. This is the time when those who seek direction, wisdom, and strength can find them in abundance. For centuries, those who achieved greatness understood this truth. Leaders would rise before dawn to prepare for battle. Scholars would study while the world slept, and the faithful would kneel in prayer, seeking guidance and strength. It is no coincidence that some of the most influential figures in history, from prophets to kings, from inventors to entrepreneurs, have testified to the power of rising before the sun. They understood that the early hours provide an opportunity that the rest of the day does not, a chance to align with purpose before the distractions come flooding in. There is something transformative about beginning the day before the world begins to demand your attention. Instead of waking up to chaos, instead of being pulled in every direction by obligations, you wake up on your own terms. You start with focus, with intention, with a spirit that is already prepared for the challenges ahead. It is in these moments that you have the power to shape your day, to direct your thoughts, and to set the course for success. The human mind is most creative in these hours. Science itself has shown that the brain, free from external stimuli, operates at its highest level of clarity and problem-solving ability in the early morning. This is why some of the most profound ideas, the most life-changing decisions, and the most powerful spiritual experiences happen during this time. When the mind is free from distraction, when it is still and undisturbed, it becomes fertile ground for insight, for wisdom, for divine revelation. Many struggle with waking early because the body resists change. It is comfortable to remain in bed, to hold on to the last moments of sleep. But just as the body resists, the spirit calls. There is a longing within every person to break free from the limitations of routine, to rise above the ordinary, to step into a life of purpose. And that begins in the quiet moments before the rest of the world stirs. When the streets are empty, when the world is still covered in darkness, when there is nothing but silence, there is a rare and beautiful opportunity to hear what is often drowned out during the day. The voice of God, the whispers of inspiration, the deep stirrings of the soul. These things are found in the early hours. It is in these moments that prayers take on new meaning, that gratitude fills the heart more deeply, that the mind becomes a channel for divine wisdom. Those who embrace this time find themselves ahead, not just in their work, not just in their goals, but in life itself. They have already won the first battle of the day by overcoming the temptation to sleep a little longer. They have already set their priorities, aligned their hearts with purpose, and positioned themselves for success before the rest of the world has even begun. The early hours are a gift, a secret weapon for those who choose to use them. In the quiet hours before the world awakens, there is a sacred opportunity, one that has been embraced by the faithful, the seekers, and the wise throughout history. These moments, untouched by the distractions of the day, are a time for deep prayer and reflection. It is in these hours that the soul can find peace, that the heart can unburden itself, and that the mind can open itself to divine wisdom. Prayer in the early morning carries a unique power. It is not rushed, not squeezed between obligations, not diluted by the concerns of the day. It is pure, intentional, and deeply personal. In these still moments, prayer becomes more than a routine. It becomes communion. The words spoken in the darkness before dawn seem to reach heaven in a way that prayers spoken amidst the noise of the day often do not. They are unfiltered, sincere, flowing from the depths of the heart without distraction. For those who seek guidance, there is no better time than this. The world is asleep, but God is awake. The world is silent, but heaven is listening. It is in this stillness that prayers are most heartfelt, where the soul can be laid bare without interruption, where the deepest longings, the greatest fears, and the most urgent desires can be placed before the Creator. This is the time when burdens are lifted, when clarity is given, when peace is restored. Reflection in the early morning is just as powerful. When the mind is free from external pressures, it becomes a mirror, revealing what is often hidden beneath the surface of daily busyness. In these moments of solitude, one can look back with gratitude, acknowledging the blessings that might have gone unnoticed. One can also look forward with intention, setting a course for the day with purpose and clarity. Many of life's greatest decisions are made in moments of reflection, when the heart is still, when the mind is unburdened, when there is nothing demanding immediate attention, the truth becomes clearer. Problems that seemed impossible the night before suddenly have solutions. Worries that weighed heavily on the soul lose their grip. The fears that seemed overwhelming in the chaos of the day shrink in the presence of stillness. There is also a deeper transformation that happens in these hours. In the quiet of prayer and reflection, one begins to see life through a different lens. The distractions that once seemed urgent fade into the background, and the things that truly matter come into focus. Relationships take on new meaning. Purpose becomes clearer. The presence of God, which often feels distant in the rush of the day, becomes tangible in the silence. The great men and women of faith have always understood this. They knew that before facing the world, they needed to first face God. Before making decisions, they needed to seek divine wisdom. Before stepping into the challenges of the day, they needed to be strengthened in spirit. This is why they rose before the sun, why they prayed before they acted, why they reflected before they spoke. Prayer in the early morning is not just a habit, it is a lifeline. It is the secret strength of those who walk in faith, who live with purpose, who move through life with a peace that surpasses understanding. It is in these moments that hearts are changed, that minds are renewed, that spirits are lifted. The world has not yet begun its demands. The noise has not yet begun to distract, and the pressures have not yet begun to weigh down. In this stillness, in this sacred space, prayer and reflection become the foundation for everything that follows. In the depths of every human heart, there is a longing for direction, a desire to know the path that should be taken. Life presents choices, some small, some life-altering. And in the uncertainty of these decisions, there is a yearning to know what is right, what is best, what aligns with the purpose for which one was created. It is in the early hours, in the stillness of the morning, that this search for God's will becomes most profound. Seeking God's will is not just about asking for answers, but about opening the heart to receive them. It is about surrendering personal desires, stepping away from the noise of opinions, and listening to the still, small voice that speaks in moments of quiet. In the rush of the day, this voice is often drowned out by responsibilities, by distractions, by the endless stream of thoughts that pull the mind in every direction. But in the early hours, before the world begins its demands, there is an opportunity to hear with clarity, to perceive what is often missed. God's will is not always revealed in a single moment. It is not always a dramatic sign or a sudden revelation. More often, it is a gradual unfolding, a deepening awareness, a peace that settles over the heart, confirming the right path. This is why seeking His will is not a one-time request, but a continuous posture of the heart. It requires patience, trust, and a willingness to walk forward even when the full picture is not yet visible. Many struggle with the uncertainty of not knowing what comes next. They want immediate answers, clear directions, and a roadmap for the future. But seeking God's will is not about demanding explanations. It is about learning to trust. It is about understanding that God's wisdom is far greater than human understanding, that His plans are higher, that His timing is perfect. When one approaches Him in the quiet of the morning, in humility and faith, there is an assurance that even when the path is unclear, He is leading. Prayer is the key to seeking God's will. It is in these moments of conversation with the divine that the heart is softened, that stubbornness is broken, that the barriers of fear and doubt are removed. It is in prayer that one can lay every concern before God, not just seeking answers, but seeking alignment with His purpose. There is a difference between asking for what one wants and asking for what is right. The more time spent in God's presence, the clearer this distinction becomes. Reflection is just as important. In the stillness of the morning, when the mind is free from the distractions of the day, there is space to recognize the ways in which God has already been guiding. Sometimes the answers one seeks are already present, woven into past experiences, into moments of conviction, into the quiet nudges that were ignored in the busyness of life. When the heart is open, these signs become clearer. The patterns of God's faithfulness, the consistency of His leading, the way He has always been present, all of these become undeniable in moments of reflection. Seeking God's will also requires a willingness to let go. There are times when personal desires, fears, or preconceived notions stand in the way of recognizing the right path. The human heart often clings to comfort, to familiarity, to the illusion of control. But true surrender means being open to whatever God reveals, even when it is unexpected, even when it requires stepping into the unknown. Those who seek His will must be prepared to trust, even when the answer is different from what they hoped for. There is peace in knowing that God does not lead His people into confusion. His will is never meant to be a mystery that causes anxiety or fear. It is meant to be a guiding light, a source of clarity, a path that, when followed, brings purpose and fulfillment. But this clarity is found not in the rush of daily life, not in the frantic search for immediate solutions, but in the quiet, in the patience, in the moments of stillness, when the heart is truly seeking, truly listening. The early hours provide the perfect space for this search. Before the weight of the world settles in, before decisions must be made, before the pressures of the day take over, there is a sacred moment to seek, to listen, to align with the divine. Those who make it a habit to rise before the sun, to enter into prayer, to sit in reflection, find that they are not wandering aimlessly through life. They are walking with purpose, with confidence, with the assurance that they are exactly where they need to be, led by the hand of God. There are times in life when the soul feels weary, when the weight of responsibilities, struggles, and disappointments begins to drain the heart of its passion and purpose. The burdens of yesterday, the uncertainties of tomorrow, and the demands of today can leave a person feeling empty, disconnected, and lost. But just as the body needs rest and nourishment to function, the spirit also needs renewal, and there is no better time to restore the soul than in the early hours of the morning, when the world is quiet, when distractions are few, and when the heart is most open to receiving strength from above. Renewing the spirit is not a passive process. It requires intention. It is about making a deliberate choice to step away from the noise, from the endless stream of information and obligations, and to reconnect with the source of true peace and strength. In the stillness of the morning, when everything is at rest, there is an opportunity to refresh the soul, to fill the heart with gratitude, to realign with purpose, and to regain the energy needed to move forward. One of the most powerful ways to renew the spirit is through prayer. When life feels overwhelming, when worries press in from every side, the act of turning to God in the quiet hours of the morning can be life-changing. In these moments, burdens that seem too heavy to carry can be laid down. The concerns that kept the mind restless through the night can be surrendered. Prayer is not just about asking for help. It is about stepping into the presence of the divine, about being reminded that no challenge is too great, that no failure is final, and that no season of difficulty will last forever. Reading and meditating on Scripture is another way the Spirit is renewed. The Word of God is like living water. It refreshes, strengthens, and gives new life to the weary soul. There is wisdom in the pages of Scripture, wisdom that brings clarity in times of confusion, hope in times of despair, and encouragement in times of struggle. When a person begins their day by filling their mind with truth, with promises of strength and victory, the rest of the day is transformed. The challenges remain, but the perspective shifts. Instead of being weighed down by circumstances, there is an inner strength, a deep confidence that no matter what comes, it will not shake the foundation of faith. Gratitude is also a powerful tool for renewal. The struggles of life often blind the heart to the blessings that exist in every moment. But in the stillness of the morning, before the demands of the day begin, there is a chance to pause, to reflect, and to acknowledge the goodness that is already present. Even in difficult seasons, there is something to be thankful for. The breath in the lungs, the new day that has been given, the love of family and friends, the lessons learned through hardship. Gratitude shifts the heart from a place of lack to a place of abundance. And in doing so, it renews the spirit with a sense of peace and contentment. Silence itself is also a pathway to renewal. In a world that is constantly demanding attention, where notifications, conversations, and responsibilities pull in every direction, true silence is rare. But in the early hours of the morning, before the world awakens, There is a sacred quiet that allows for deep reflection, for rest in the presence of God, for an opportunity to simply be still. In that stillness, the spirit is refreshed, the mind is cleared, and the heart is strengthened for the day ahead. Many go through life feeling drained, exhausted, and disconnected from their true purpose because they never take the time to renew their spirit. They wake up already burdened, already overwhelmed, already consumed by the pressures of life. But those who choose to rise before the sun, to step into the presence of God, to fill their hearts with truth, and to rest in the silence of the morning, find themselves walking through life with a different kind of strength. Their spirit is not easily shaken, their heart is not easily discouraged, and their mind is not easily consumed by fear. The renewal of the spirit is not something that happens once and is complete. It is a continual process, a daily commitment to stepping away from the noise, to reconnecting with truth, to allowing the burdens of yesterday to be released so that today can be lived with clarity and purpose. It is in these moments of renewal that the heart finds peace, that faith is strengthened, and that the soul is reminded of the unshakable power of God's presence. Laziness is one of the greatest barriers to success, growth, and fulfillment. It is a silent thief that steals time, potential, and purpose. It whispers excuses, feeds procrastination, and keeps people trapped in cycles of stagnation and regret. Many dream of achieving great things, of living with passion and purpose, yet they find themselves held back, not by lack of talent, not by lack of opportunity, but by the unwillingness to take action. The chains of laziness are not physical, but they are just as strong, binding the mind with complacency and the body with inaction. Breaking free from laziness begins with a decision. It is a choice to reject the comfort of idleness, to rise above mediocrity, and to step into the life one was meant to live. It is not easy. The body resists change, the mind clings to familiar patterns, and the temptation to delay action is always present. But those who refuse to be ruled by laziness understand that discipline is the key to freedom. They know that every wasted moment is a moment that could have been used to grow, to learn, to improve, to make an impact. The morning hours are the most powerful time to break the chains of laziness. While others are still asleep, while the world is still at rest, those who are determined to rise above mediocrity take control of their lives. Waking up early is not just about having more hours in the day. It is about conquering the first battle against laziness. It is a declaration that the body will not dictate the course of one's life, that comfort will not be prioritized over purpose, that every day will begin with intention and action. Laziness often disguises itself as fatigue, as a lack of motivation, as the belief that there will always be more time. But time is the one resource that cannot be regained once lost. Every hour wasted in laziness is an hour that could have been used to build something meaningful. Those who recognize this truth understand that motivation is not something to be waited for. It is something to be created. Action produces momentum, and momentum fuels progress. The hardest step is always the first. But once movement begins, the weight of laziness starts to break apart. The mind plays a powerful role in overcoming laziness. Negative thoughts, self-doubt, and a habit of making excuses are the chains that keep people stuck. But just as the mind can hold a person back, it can also propel them forward. By replacing excuses with determination, by shifting from a mindset of procrastination to a mindset of discipline, laziness loses its grip. Those who train their minds to reject complacency, who refuse to let small comforts steal their potential, become unstable. The power of routine cannot be ignored in the fight against laziness. Those who drift through life without structure, without clear goals, without a plan for their time, often fall into patterns of idleness. But those who establish strong habits, waking up early, dedicating time to growth, setting clear objectives, gain control over their actions. Routine creates discipline, and discipline crushes laziness. Accountability is another key to breaking free. When a person isolates themselves in laziness, it becomes easier to justify inaction. But when they surround themselves with people who challenge them, who push them, who expect more from them, the pressure to rise up increases. Greatness is rarely achieved in solitude. Those who desire to break free from laziness must seek out mentors, must place themselves in environments that demand growth, must refuse to settle for less than what they are capable of. Excuses are the language of the lazy. I'll do it later. I'm too tired. I'm not ready yet. These are the words that keep people from moving forward, that keep dreams locked away, that keep potential buried beneath layers of hesitation. But those who succeed in life are those who silence these excuses. They replace them with action, with discipline, with a refusal to waste the gift of time. They understand that every moment is an opportunity, that every day is a chance to move closer to their purpose, and that laziness has no place in the life of someone who is determined to make an impact. Breaking the chains of laziness is not about working endlessly without rest. It is about recognizing the difference between rest and idleness. Rest restores, but laziness drains. Rest is intentional, but laziness is avoidance. Those who master this distinction know when to pause for renewal and when to push forward with determination. They do not allow temporary discomfort to stop them from achieving long-term success. Laziness is not just a habit, it is a mindset. But just as a mindset can be shaped by years of inaction, it can also be reshaped by daily choices. The decision to wake up early, to take action even when motivation is low, to push through resistance, to demand more from oneself. These are the choices that separate those who live with purpose from those who merely exist. And every choice made in favor of discipline, in favor of action, in favor of breaking free, weakens the grip of laziness until it no longer has power. Each day is a gift, a fresh opportunity to move forward, to grow, to build, and to make a difference. But too often the hours slip away, wasted on distractions, on indecision, on meaningless activities that add nothing to a life of purpose. Those who fail to plan their day find themselves reacting to life rather than leading it. They drift, caught in the currents of circumstance, never fully in control of where they are going. But those who take time to plan their day with purpose step into each morning with clarity, with focus, and with a determination to make the most of every moment. A purposeful day begins long before the sun rises. It starts in the early hours when the mind is clear, when the heart is open, when there is stillness before the demands of the world take over. This is the time to set direction, to align the day with what truly matters, to ensure that every action is intentional. Those who wake up and immediately rush into the chaos of the day often find themselves overwhelmed, scattered, and exhausted before the day is even halfway through. But those who pause, who plan, who take control of their time, find that they accomplish more, stress less, and live with a sense of fulfillment. One of the greatest enemies of productivity is aimlessness. Without a plan, it is easy to fall into patterns of procrastination, of jumping from one task to another without making real progress. Purposeful planning eliminates this by giving each day a clear direction. It defines priorities, making sure that the most important tasks are completed first. It sets a structure, preventing wasted time and ensuring that energy is used wisely. Those who take just a few minutes in the morning to plan their day gain hours of efficiency in return. The key to a purposeful day is not just making a list of tasks, but ensuring that each task aligns with a greater goal. It is not about being busy, it is about being productive. There are many who fill their days with activity, who are constantly moving, constantly working, yet at the end of the day, they feel as though nothing meaningful has been accomplished. That is because busyness without purpose is just another form of distraction. True productivity is about progress, about moving closer to the vision, the dreams, the calling that has been placed on one's life. Planning with purpose also requires balance. A well-structured day is not just about work. It includes time for reflection, time for growth, time for relationships, time for renewal. Those who neglect these areas find themselves burned out, disconnected, and running on empty. But those who intentionally set aside moments for prayer, for learning, for connecting with others, for taking care of their health, are the ones who build lives of lasting impact. Another crucial aspect of planning is flexibility. Even the best laid plans can be interrupted by unexpected events, by challenges that arise, by situations that require a shift in focus. But those who have a strong foundation, who know their priorities, who have set a clear direction, are able to adjust without losing sight of their purpose. They do not allow disruptions to throw them off course because they understand that purpose is not about rigid schedules, but about intentional living. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who merely wish for success. It is easy to plan a day. It takes discipline to follow through. The temptation to delay, to push important tasks aside, to allow distractions to take over is always present. But those who develop the habit of following their plan, who train themselves to stay committed to what they have set out to do, are the ones who see real progress. They do not wait for motivation. They rely on commitment. They do not make excuses. They take action. Time is the most valuable resource, and once it is gone, it cannot be reclaimed. Those who understand this do not waste it. They do not allow the hours to slip away in meaningless activities. They do not live on autopilot, letting the day dictate their actions. Instead, they take control. They wake up with a plan. They move through the day with intention. They make choices that align with their vision, their calling, their purpose. Living with purpose is not just about the big moments in life. It is about the small decisions made every single day. It is about choosing to be intentional with time, to prioritize what truly matters, to ensure that every action contributes to something greater. A well-planned day leads to a well-lived life. And those who take charge of their time, who wake up with a clear direction, who refuse to waste the precious hours they have been given, are the ones who walk in fulfillment, in progress, and in the purpose for which they were created. A life of purpose is not built in a single moment, but in the daily choices that shape each day. Planning with intention, rising early to take control of time, and committing to meaningful action, these are the habits that separate those who merely exist from those who truly live. Every day is an opportunity, a blank page waiting to be filled with decisions that align with a greater purpose. Those who fail to plan drift through life, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping their destiny. But those who wake up with clarity, who set their priorities, who discipline themselves to follow through, walk with confidence, knowing they are making progress toward their goals. A life well lived is not about being endlessly busy, but about being purposefully productive, ensuring that every hour contributes to something greater. Time is a gift, and how it is spent determines the legacy that will be left behind. Those who take charge of their days, who plan with wisdom, who move forward with determination, are the ones who build lives of significance. The choice is always there, to waste the day or to use it wisely, to drift or to lead, to live with intention or to let time slip away. Each morning brings a new beginning, and those who plan their day with purpose take hold of their future with confidence, strength, and unwavering faith.